we look into a complete fire suppression system, fire detection, in which we work on both addressable and conventional panels. We have been accredited by most UK organizations. With IOSH, we have CPDSO, the most premium of it being NEBOSH, and the qualifications that is being offered. Safety doesn't stop with just one aspect. It's always evolving. We take annual maintenance contracts with companies. It normally comes with 4 visits. When we do a quarterly visit, I would say mode of training that we also do, which is in-house training programs.
In-house, okay.
So they unfortunately had a fatality in the organization. So yes, it would be fair to say that we are in the middle of everything. Our main focus or vision is, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, protect lives.
Yes.
So it can be from any angle that we say.
Yes. It may be coming from fire division or audit or consultancy or training.
That's correct.
So all these are going to one direction, protect lives.
That might be a very difficult question to answer.
Hello and welcome to this first podcast, Safety First Talks. In this podcast, we are going to consider about safety, its compliance, and how companies will consider and follow safety. Myself, Muhammad Umar Farooq here. I will be host for this podcast. Basically, I'm a mechanical engineer and professional health and safety trainer. Today, we are going to discuss about the companies who follow safety and how the compliance of safety should be. And we will be considering one of the rising star of Saudi Arabia, which is eGrowth. With me today is Mr. Sujith Menon, Operations and Training Director of eGrowth. So welcome, Mr. Sujith, for this podcast.
Yes. Thank you so much, Umar. It's always a pleasure, and it's one of a kind for me to join you guys on a podcast as well. And yes, it's something which I like to talk about, and obviously when we say safety or when we talk about anything to save lives or preserve lives, that's what eGrowth is all passionate about. So yeah, that's it's wonderful to be here today.
Yeah, thank you. What is the story of eGrowth when we talk about eGrowth, when it has been established, and what is the formation behind this eGrowth? We'd like to know more about eGrowth, when it has been started and how it is formed. What is the goal and aim of this eGrowth?
Yeah, it's a good question. When you talk about eGrowth is actually in short for Economy Growth Establishment. Just to give you a history of where the company formed itself. I mean, if I understand correctly, the company was incorporated a little over 5 years ago. Primarily with one vision, again, that was to save and protect lives. Definitely a visionary behind it, which is Mr. Mohammed Al-Shamrani, who is also the CEO and co-owner of the organization. And that being said, eGrowth's first vertical was always to focus on fire protection and fire safety systems. And when we talk about that, it's like, consider the very fact that we are just sitting in this building right now. Yes, we know that we are kind of safe, but then there are systems behind it which actually monitor continuously and ensure that we are, at least in a safe bubble. And but there are times that if it doesn't work, then that's when the flags go up.
Exactly.
And you always get into a difficult position. So with eGrowth, what happens is we sort of have a very comprehensive solution into fire systems, as I had said. Not just that. I mean, our focus is we look at. Well, if I have to also mention, I mean, we are actually approved by the Civil Defense of Saudi Arabia,
Great.
and obviously any installation or any project we do is based on NFPA compliance. That's a given, as you're already aware in the region. And for particularly when it comes to safety, we do fire protection, not just for buildings. We look at even warehouses. We're into, in fact, most industries. I mean, be it oil and gas, hospitality, even for that matter, manufacturing. Food manufacturing is quite a famous, or I would say a happening industry here in Saudi Arabia. So we look into a complete fire suppression system, fire detection, in which we work on both addressable and conventional panels. We also are into clean agents like FM200 and Novec systems. And many more. I mean, it's as long as we can put our hands to protect, we're good with that. One of the other verticals we have also gone into is into health and safety training. As you're probably aware, economy growth. I keep emphasizing it's growth. We have been accredited by most UK organizations. To begin with IOSH, we have CPDSO, the most premium of it being NEBOSH, and the qualifications that is being offered. And of course with ROSPA, and it doesn't stop there. Our vision is to keep moving and acquire as much, as long as we are able to take that to our learners or even our customers for that matter. I don't mean to go about expanding, but then another vertical we have is we also are into health and safety auditing. We do gap analysis for organizations. It's easier said than done. I mean, we talk about safety, but when you try to implement or put that into practice, that's a different ballgame altogether.
Yeah, obviously, yes.
And let's see if you're on the other side. I mean, you're within a company and you're trying to implement the culture of workplace safety. That's a different task altogether.
Yes.
So, and you're bound to have gaps. At times, the companies, they think that safety is a very complacent issue.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Many a times, from my experience, what I've seen is they take it very lightly sometimes, and when an incident happens, they are not in a position to react.
Exactly, I saw this.
So that's where we sort of go in and tell companies, look, we are ready to prep them up. We can get them up to speed as to where their gaps are.
Exactly.
Sometimes they are not pretty sure in their documentation, so we try and set that up for them. And then the continuous part is to go back and talk to these companies to say that safety doesn't stop with just one aspect. It's always evolving.
Yes, correct.
And it's how we try to build that culture.
Yes, culture.
That's and I'm sure we always say safety is everybody's responsibility.
Yes, everybody's responsibility, and culture is something we need to create with organizations. I totally agree with this sentence. And really, making culture is not that easy as we think of. It takes time to build the culture in organization, and it's everyone has to think positively. We need to work on behaviors and attitudes. I understand. I totally agree with this.
So in a nutshell, e-growth, we try and put our hands into everything that we can be of service of, and we always say customer satisfaction comes.
What I understand with this is e-growth is covering all the aspect which is life saving. You are into fire protection, you are into training, you are into risk assessment, you are into auditing.
Correct.
These segments, all these segments are not only the areas to focus, it is saving the life. It is impacting the lives.
It doesn't end there now. I'm pretty sure that in our current, I would say times that we live in now, everyone talks about AI, artificial intelligence. So we are also trying to work with systems which now use the signs of artificial intelligence, particularly with fire detection. And I think we may probably discuss on that a little later. But
right now
it is give an insight of how it is.
So, right now it is one of the booming industry, artificial intelligence, and it is now coming into all the aspects and sectors, and also e-growth is also considering this as one of the
we didn't want to feel we are left behind, so as
earlier just you mentioned regarding to fire protection, what type of exact services e-growth do in terms of fire protection?
So with fire protection, one is we do a complete let's take for example, if we are taking a turnkey project right from design. I mean, so so companies normally approach us saying that, look, we would like to have a new fire protection system, complete, full installation in their facility.
Nice.
This can again be classified into two types. I mean, one can be a new system altogether. That's the design, commissioning and handover of a new system. We also do retrofit of existing systems. So
fit out.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, I would not only say fit out. I would say that if there is a system, let's say we go to a site where they already have a fire system.
Rectification and installation.
And,
eGrowth will take this.
That's
project.
correct. So we can go in and we can also try to. The very term retrofit goes in again. It's split into a very wider aspect. You can either talk about trying to rectify the existing system, or we again do a similar activity of gap analysis. Sometimes the system is completely obsolete because it is something that's running in the site maybe for more than a decade and a half. That's when we have to go and advise the client that, no, listen, you can't use the existing system as this. It might not solve the purpose of having a fire protection, so we'll have to go and replace it completely. We decide and install a new one altogether. So if that's what we do, then yes, we do. Again, that goes back to the drawing board. We need to redesign and revisit the entire structure, and then we sort of implement and do a completely new installation. So that's projects. I mean, where we talk about anything that's new or existing. Another I would say aspect of fire protection is we take annual maintenance contracts. Now in this case, what happens is the system is good. Everything is installed. It's running fine. But you still need that to have a health or a systems check on a regular basis. So we take annual maintenance contracts with companies. It normally comes with 4 visits. I mean, we do a quarterly visit. During the visit, it's not just a visit to see if the systems are normal. We do both the preventive maintenance and as part of it, let's say if there is some issue that we identify, that's normally a part of the inspection routine. We inform that to the client, and then we do a corrective maintenance on because it's always better to do the repairs as you go. I mean, it's not that we find the problem and then we tell you this is the problem, then you decide later whether you want to fix it or not. That doesn't make sense because you would have lost time. So the ideal way or ideal approach is you let's say if you observe that there is some anomaly in the system, try to correct it on the go. And then make sure that the system is always good to go in at all times. So that being said, our clients also come back saying that, listen, we just don't want you to do only a standard routine visit. Do let us know whether there is any area of improvement. That's what we do as part of it. And yes, annual maintenance contracts are something which is very essential from an company perspective, because as you're aware, in this region in Saudi Arabia, civil defense and other regulatory authorities have really stepped up the game now. Which means they are very active in inspection. They can do random audits into companies. They can look at the condition of the system if it's not as per the regulation or standard. I'm not saying that they come up with a heavy penalty straight away. They do bring up the observation and they give you a grace time. I mean, you need to make sure that the contractor that you work with, they are informed about it and they are able to come up with a corrective action. And once that is done, then they come back for a visit to see if the non-conformances have been closed. And then you have a pretty good system. So as long as the system is good and as long as you have a right contractor or a right fire system solution provider, then I think you're on the safe side actually.
As we talk about this civil defense, so is it mandatory for a company to have AMC contract as per regulatory authorities?
It is recommended. I won't say it is recommended by civil defense, but civil defense states that they should have a healthy system at any point of time. So in some larger organizations, they have a dedicated team who work in-house. I mean, their job is to make sure that, and usually it's part of the health and safety department. They also take care of the fire systems there. But sometimes it can get a bit too technical. I mean, when let's say if you're talking about a pump, if the pump fails, then they may not have the expertise to rectify the pump, the fire pump. That's where we come into the picture. So they would then sign a contract with a provider who would at least be on standby. I mean, when we talk about e-growth as well, we just don't say that we only sign an AMC contract. When you sign a contract with us, we are on service or on standby for 24/7.
That's nice.
Because you know that when you're talking about fire systems,
Yeah.
that's a 24/7 system which protects
exactly emergency may
human
happen,
lives.
anyone, and
And if we are the people who install it, then
Yeah.
our expertise has to be there 24/7.
Yes.
So yes, we endeavor to make sure that our response time for any emergency calls is not less than 4 hours. I mean, as long as it's within a reasonable
nice.
radius. We do have separate teams who are spread across in geography of Saudi Arabia. We are based out of the Eastern Province. We have a team that's takes care of Riyadh, which is from the central.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's another team which is based out of Jeddah, that's for the Western Province as well.
Okay,
And
means our center headquarter is in Eastern Province,
Yes.
but we are
We spread
covering
across.
whole Saudi Arabia with different teams.
That's correct. I mean, we do projects and we deliver our services across the entire geography of Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
But yes, we are headquartered out of Jubail, and this is where we.
Okay. And as we talk about the civil defense requirement, is there any prerequisite as a contractor? E-growth has to be approved by civil defense.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
that-
So a very good question again. Now, so one thing is there are some rules and regulations that are to be followed by the client. I mean, where you have a
yeah.
system
Yeah,
installed.
obviously, yeah.
Because they are bound to have visits
Yes,
from civil
yes.
defense. Now, as a contractor who provides these services,
Yeah.
yes, you need to have an approval from the civil defense as well. I think more particularly here, it is called as the HCIS.
Yes.
You need to have a HCIS certificate, and without that, you're not allowed to, in fact, even provide a service. I'll tell you, it works both ways. I mean, when we go and do, let's say, an AMC or a service to make sure that the system is in place, and once the inspection report is signed, that is actually, a copy of that is uploaded by us. I mean, we are regulated, or I would say, from a service provider point of view, it is mandatory that we upload these reports into the civil defense portal, which is what they call a Salama here, the Salama portal.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where civil defense also verifies that, see, they are accountable. There are two parties accountable. One party who owns the system and make sure that it works fine, that's
Your
the client.
yeah.
And the other party who maintains the system. This is where we call as a contractor.
Okay.
Civil defense does not only focus on one, they make sure that this full circle is complete.
Okay.
So the reports that we upload into the Salama portal is also verified by them. If there is any recommendations or observations that we have put into the report, at any point of time, civil defense can also go in and inspect the client facility to make sure if those recommendations have been corrected.
Yeah.
And so it goes both ways. Sometimes, civil defense also checks with us as to check, are you aware of this client? We noticed that you had done, an AMC or an inspection, but you had also picked up all these non-conformances. Sometimes they even ask us what our feedback on what the site is about.
Okay.
So it's a bit tricky at times, but then the most essential part is being a firefighting contractor or a fire service contractor. We need to make sure that both the client and the regulatory authority are going in sync. That's what we do. So,
that's perfect. That's nice. So when it comes to training, health and safety trainings, as we mentioned, we are also approved for IOSH and NEBOSH and CPDSO.
Yes.
So what type of trainings eGrowth do provide when it comes to specific courses?
Interesting. So, just to give you a brief, my background is entirely different. I have come from a purely an IT or a technical background. Then I had some years of experience into working with or let's say being a part of health and safety training, activity itself. And that being said, having accredited courses on board is not just to make sure that we can deliver these courses. The art of delivering is different. The art of learners grasping the concept is different entirely. So with eGrowth, yes, we have accreditations like IOSH, which is quite commonly known from the UK. That's the Institution of Occupational Safety and Health. They normally have qualifications which are the IOSH Working Safely and Managing Safely qualifications. These can be taken by learners who are looking to have an entry level into health and safety, or somebody who's even trying to look to have a career into health and safety. And I would always reiterate this fact that health and safety is not something that is to be done only by one department.
Yes.
It's a culture that should be there within everyone, actually. I mean, take for example, if you're driving a car, I mean, you drive your car within a certain limit where you feel safe, and if you have passengers with you, they are your responsibility as well.
Correct.
So you actually take the concept of health and safety there. So much the same way, when you put this into occupational safety, there are a lot of hazards. Statistically, if you see, there are many people who either are prone to injuries, which can be from minor to severe. It can even go all the way to fatality. I mean, that's the last thing you need. When you have a fatality, you're talking about complete loss in production. And if you look at it from the other side, that's life. I mean, at the end of the day, there is someone who comes to work, they finish, they go home, they've got a family as well. But if they lose the breadwinner of the house, and then it's a totally different
moral reasons of employees.
Exactly. So and employers now have become very smart or very intelligent in recruiting the right mindset or the right talent of people in health and safety, and that's where these qualifications come in handy. So I just gave an example of how IOSH is an entry-level qualification. Then we are also an accredited learning partner for NEBOSH. Once again, NEBOSH stands for the National Examination Board of Occupational Safety and Health. Economy Growth have got their accreditation, I think, a little less than a year ago, and from what I understand is our current or our main focus for this region in Saudi Arabia is to focus on the Arabic talent, because we've heard that there is a Vision 2030 now in Saudi Arabia, and one of the primary requirements is, it states that 70% of the workforce in health and safety have to be from the local Saudi population.
Local safety should be local citizens.
Local citizens, which means they are also, I mean, one of their outreaches, which is a good thing that I've seen. They are trying to empower the local talent to make sure that they take some responsible roles within organizations. I mean, we've got some top companies here when we talk about it, and there are many more actually. So Saudi Arabia, if you see, is an untapped potential. When you talk about, I mean, if you talk about any aspect, I mean, even if it's health and safety, even if it's fire safety, there's plenty of potential in this region. So with that, if you look at, our focus is to tap the let's say local audience, and currently the qualifications are being delivered in Arabic. The trainings are also being done in English as well, because that's also given. I mean, if you
mean Arabic means how our focus will be, as we mentioned that NEBOSH, we have approved the NEBOSH center. Now NEBOSH do provide Arabic and English both courses.
So the thing is, as I mean, when I say that we are accredited by NEBOSH, NEBOSH is just the awarding body where the learners are supposed to be registered and they take up their examinations, and they are certified provided they complete the exam. Now, training delivery is up to the learning partner. I mean, we still have to notify the accreditation body which languages you would like to deliver. So in the case of eGrowth, we are accredited to deliver in two languages, which is English and Arabic. English by default, I mean, that's given for all learning partners. And Arabic, of course, we had to undergo a process where we submitted our training materials. So when I say that's the learner textbooks, the presentations used by the trainers themselves, I mean, they have a very strict scrutiny system where they look at the qualifications of the trainer, and there's a periodic review as well. So again, if you look from that side, they don't look at the quality of the center alone. They also look at the quality of the trainer. They look at administration policies, how well the learners.
Very broad overview.
Yes, and this is across the board actually. I mean, every accreditation body looks at how the center or the training provider actually takes the learner through a journey. I mean, right from the time of registration for them to undergo the course, how they are guided to complete their assessments. And then until the period of certification. And now, if a learner actually has a smooth journey with this process itself, that sort of gives them an encouragement to come back and ask us what next. And when you talk about learning is never ending, at least.
Exactly. I agree with
not just from a health and safety point of view. You look at any this thing, learning is an evolving process. So and it's also down to the individual how they like to move up. I mean, some people, they are more like I mean, let's say, take for example, we come across different kinds of learners. There are some learners who can learn right under a trainer, I mean, face to face. So they expect the concepts to be explained, and then they absorb that. Then there is another section of learners who might understand more by practical based learning. Now we call that as kinesthetic learning. They have different technologies. There may be another, sometimes you may also come across, I mean, that's what we have to be really open to. We could come across learners who may have some learning difficulties, challenges. So in such cases, we have to make sure that we either give them a one-to-one session, ensure that they're able to get the concept right. It's not just a question of acquiring the qualification. See, tomorrow once somebody gets a certificate, it's how he's going to put that into practice in the work site. More often than not, what happens is when the employer sees that there is a proper skill set, that's good. But sometimes what happens is the learners, there are shortcuts, but let's not discuss that today. But people who try to learn via shortcuts, definitely they are not, they themselves become a hazard. Because they are not going to know how to react actually. So and I mean, before I forget, there's one other, I would say, mode of training that we also do, which is in-house training programs. With eGrowth, I've also seen that over the years we've developed several kind of ad hoc qualifications or ad hoc training programs for companies, where it can be as small as a toolbox talk, or it can be an orientation, safety orientation program, or it can also be a detailed training subject. Not exactly accredited. I mean, it can be any subject.
Based on company requirements.
Based on the company requirement. So what eGrowth does is we normally keep ourselves in constant communication with training departments of various organizations. We try and see how we can be of help to, either we can help them design the training matrix, or they may have one where we can try and see how our expertise can fit in. We can even help them to organize, a training session so that they can ensure that every level of employee is trained with having least I would say impact on the operations. Right? So that's one of the things we do. And yes, it doesn't stop there. Sometimes we even get some training requests which is not within our scope, but if it is within our technical expertise, we try and we also try to get some access to resources, or let's say expert advice from industry professionals, and then we try to deliver it as well. And if need be, we bring in the experts if we have to.
This is a good initiative from this side. When it comes to the safety consultant work and audits and risk assessment, gap analysis, as you mentioned just a while ago, so how eGrowth will consider full setup of safety in companies?
That's a very interesting question as well, and I won't take the name of the company, but I can confirm for a fact that very recently we did a similar, I would say, activity. We call it as a gap analysis. It was a food milling company. It's based out of Dammam here in Saudi Arabia. What we got to understand was they unfortunately had a fatality in the organization. But again, look, you can't put the full blame on the company. We went ahead to actually do a detailed root cause analysis, as you would say. What we understood was there were several factors involved. I mean, see, the company is good. They had a health and safety division, but I think the processes were not very robust. In the sense, they were not sure how to act in the event of an emergency. Even the person, let's say, when I talk about the fatality, the person was actually what we understood was not meant to be on the shift on that day. There were several issues actually that contributed for that incident. So this is where they asked our assistants as to not just to do an analysis, but also if we could find out where the gaps were and how we could improve the system. So we went right to the drawing board, right to the very bottom of it. And see, the thing about safety is, or thing about doing these audits is not finding what the problem is and then putting the blame back. That's I think, from the older times actually. Nowadays, what the companies or what people are expecting is, yes, we know we have a problem. What is the solution we have to rectify that? Or when you talk about health and safety, how can you mitigate those risks or the hazards that you have? And then how can we have a better, low incident rate? I will be wrong if I say that there is 100% safety compliance in every company, or if I say that no, we have 0% incidents. No, there is an incident every day, every second that happens. But whether it's being reported or whether it's being considered as part of, if a further action has to be taken, that all comes under the company. So with eGrowth, we give them a comprehensive solution. Once a gap analysis is done, we give them a full improvement report, or we find out the NCRs as well. We do the recommendations. Now, once we give the recommendations, if the company is in a position to rectify and do that themselves, yes, they can do that. Or we give them a value-added service where we send our team. Our team actually go and work there for about, let's say, anywhere between 3 to 6 months, get the entire systems in place, the documentation in place. And in some cases, we are also in trying to, help these companies acquire their certifications. Sometimes it's a mandatory requirement. A good example for health and safety is the 45001, ISO 45001.
eGrowth do provide ISO services.
Yes. We are not directly accredited, but we work with partners. And we do all the findings, whatever is required. And then once the organization is fully compliant, they acquire the certification. So yes, it would be fair to say that we are in the middle of everything. And our main focus or vision is, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, protect lives.
Yes.
So it can be from any angle that we say.
Yes, it may be coming from fire division or audit or consultancy or training.
That's correct.
So all these are going to one direction, protect lives. So yes. So looking forward to the eGrowth. So can you share one of the good story which eGrowth may be proud of doing this activity? So any of the projects which you have done? Yeah,
we've again, it would be only safe if I don't take names though, but yes, I can definitely say that we have done some premier projects with one of the leading mining companies here in Saudi Arabia. We have done their full fire system and fire protection installation for them. That's actually based in the middle of the desert. They have exploration camps, so we've done, our teams have delivered the full installation and commissioning there. I would say with the economy growth, we also work closely with the civil defense in a way where they also place bids on many portals nowadays. In the region, obviously not just us, even our competitors bid for them, and we make sure that, if we get ourselves involved into a project, I would always see that it has to be an end-to-end solution. There have been cases where we were bought in where some other subcontractors did the job half done, and then we had absolutely no clue where to start, where to begin. But our team had to take the time to understand, where we had to go about it, and then we've tried to find an amicable way to complete it. And if you ask for, I would say there are many of success stories that we could talk of, but in the end, with the economic growth, what we try and do is, we'd like for our clients to speak for themselves, and because it would be only fair to say that any feedback or any quality of service that's enjoyed, that is there for the client to speak. And if we are here, in the last 5 years or so, and still continuing to go on, look into the next decade. I think that speaks volumes of where we are at the moment.
Exactly.
So
perfect. So how about the future aspect of e-growth? How you see? Do you have any proper vision? As we are working in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia has a proper vision 2030. So everyone is working on this specific vision. Do we have similar vision of e-growth in this perspective?
Yes, let's take Saudi Arabia for example. I'll be very honest. I mean, I've come around this region for at least now more than for me, Middle East is my home actually. But when you look at Saudi Arabia in particular, it's not what it was maybe 2 decades ago. I mean, there have been a lot of reforms that have come. The leadership in this country has now considered that they want to make sure that they are on the map. If I would put it that way, and to do that, it's not just reforms. They are also trying to make sure that they're inviting companies. There are a lot of world events that are happening here now. On that front, if you look at where we may stand, I think it's more like tip of the iceberg. I think there's a lot to be explored in Saudi Arabia. Like I said, it's an untapped market across all industries. So for us, it's to try and see how we can carry on with what we have, how we can take it forward, and also to adapt with the evolving technologies. I mean, I was just mentioning a short while ago, AI. I mean, we talked about artificial intelligence, and now you have Internet of Things, IoT.
Exactly,
most of the devices that you have now are smart and efficient devices. So people expect more. I mean, as a good example is 2 decades ago, having just a normal mobile phone was like a luxury. Now you have smartphones. You don't call it a mobile phone anywhere. And on the similar lines, any technology for that matter is continuously evolving, and that's the same with fire technology as well. So the more it's enhanced, I just hope that the more safer it becomes. And when we talk about safe, that's where I want e-growth to be a part of.
How you consider the e-growth, where e-growth is standing with other competitors? How you consider that why people choose e-growth? What is the reason behind this?
That might be a very difficult question to answer because I wouldn't say that we have to be at a certain thing. It's see, competition is going to be there everywhere, right? That's bound to be there, and obviously it can be competing in terms of service, competing in terms of commercials, in proposals. All that aside, I mean, for me, the bottom line is quality. So, just to answer your question, where we stand, no, I think I want e-growth to be known not just as a brand, not just as a company that offers services. I like e-growth to be known as a quality service provider. I think in the end, that's what really matters. And if that is something which we can achieve, and it is something, it's a learning curve for everyone. It's been a learning curve for me as well. I mean, to take this concept of technology and training, auditing, or whatever, that's a skill. I would say it's a skill that it never stops. It's a concept that you have to look forward to. The future is always bright, so we just look like we want to be one among them. At least we like to see ourselves one among the stars, as you would say. But yes, I would never say that we are at a better position than somebody else now. We'd like to be an equal.
As you mentioned, it is very important as you're talking about quality. If you give quality to the client, obviously it will come, it will expand, because right now the current market and situation, I see so many companies are opening and they are business perspective. They are not focusing more on quality, but they are focusing on quantity or business. So this is something different. Your aim and mission is very clear to give quality. Obviously, when we give quality, so it will expand and it will come. So when it comes to the how people connect e-growth, do we have any specific channels?
Yes. We were talking about technology, how it's evolved.
Yeah.
So, the same way, yes, economic growth has also evolved, to make sure that the presence is felt even in the virtual world, actually. When I say virtual world, that's social media and form. So, yes, we have a dedicated website. You can always reach us at www.egrowthonline.com. We are extensively there on Facebook, on Instagram, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also something which is really picking up for professional service providers or holders. All our posts go in there. Our activities are posted there, and we try to be there and strive for and people nowadays they feel comfortable just to sit at the comfort of the home and get the details from the smartphone or the smart device. So yes, we are digitally present. I would use the word we are omnipresent. We are there everywhere. Just feel free to reach out to us at any point of time. You'll get our contacts on our website, and our team is always there too.
It means
we're just a call away.
eGrowth is available in different platforms, as you mentioned, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, different platforms. So easily people can reach and check out the activities and how they can approach, and they can enroll into different segments.
Yes.
That's great. Nice. With this, thank you so much for joining, everyone. And with this, we are concluding this podcast. As we have discussed, Mr. Sujith Menon has given a huge background and impact on how safety will be implemented in the organizations when it comes to fire division, fire protection, AMCs, consultant works, ISO audit, auditing, and safety trainings. And again, in trainings, we have different divisions. We have given brief about specific trainings when it comes to trainings. It is OSHA, IOSH, and NEBOSH we have discussed. At the end, we came to know that safety is not expensive. It is priceless.
Yes.
Safety is priceless. We'll stay connected, and we'll connect once again with new podcast. Stay informed and stay connected, everyone. Thank you for joining today's podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.